So yesterday I put up a video, or the previous video was talking about the role of a husband. I said the role of a husband is to provide leadership, not necessarily to be the provider, which happens to be what a lot of people think. And the question that kept coming was, practically, what does that look like? What if you say he's supposed to be the leader? What does that look like? Now, I'm going to mention 7 things that I have found to be areas in which a husband should show leadership. It's the areas I have found and what I agree with. Now, let me explain something. For most men, what we are supposed to be as husbands, no one tells us. And some of these things I have found out, I have stumbled through over my life and gradually come to understand what it is and where we have to be. So this is my point of view. I'm creating this content for men. If you're a woman and you are listening, please don't go and beat your husband on the head with this information, because no one taught us this from the start. We learned as we go. And that's one of the reasons why I put out this content, because I want to make the life of the next man easier. The first practical way I think a husband can show leadership is to agree with his wife what success in that marriage looks like for the two of you. You see, we can't go somewhere if we don't know where we are going. And I would employ every husband out there to sit and talk with his wife, and at the beginning of the marriage, periodically within the marriage, at the beginning of the year, ideally, and ask, what would happen at the end of this year or at the end of this marriage or in 10 years' time that will make you feel this has been a successful marriage? Because we need to be able to understand what success is for you and what success is for me. Because for someone, success in the marriage is just him having peace at home. And for the other person, what is success for you as a marriage? For another person, success in the marriage is when he and his wife can become a power couple and conquer the world. We have to know what we define as success in our marriage, and we need to be aligned. Then the second practical way a husband can show leadership in marriage is make your wife's success your mission. You see, a true leader is not intimidated by the success of others. One of my mentors, he's mentored me for a great part of my life. He says this to us anytime he's coaching us. He says, I don't care how successful you become, and I honestly hope you become more successful than me, and that does not intimidate me. Why? You as a husband should look at the potential of your wife, and sometimes the potential of your wife is greater than your potential. And you must be committed to make sure that this woman can get to the heights that she can get to. So if she's an academic and your wife is in academics, you must look at how can I support her to make sure that this woman becomes the youngest full professor in the institution she's in. If she's trading in the market, how can I ensure that my wife becomes a household name in the things that she trades? If she's chosen to be a domestic engineer or a housewife, what can I do to make sure that this is the happiest housewife possible? But your decision should be, what does success look like for my wife, and how do I make sure she's successful? Let me just take a sidebar and talk about this. Unfortunately, I have had to bury a good number of my friends. And those whose wives were succeeding in their careers are much more in a better place to be able to take care of the children they left behind than those who wanted to be the success and wanted their wife to play second fiddle. Ask yourself today, should you pass away today, based on how the support you are giving to your wife, will she be able to take care of the kids you are leaving with her without having to look for another man to carry your burden? So make your wife's success one of your missions. The third thing I would say is create a plan for resolving conflicts. A good leader creates a plan for resolving conflicts, no matter what you think or say. You and your wife will quarrel about issues, you will fight about issues, you would have disagreements. Now, you as the man must be able to categorize the disagreements you have. If it's level 1, we sleep over it, we talk about it. Level 2, I may need to act the fool and accept responsibility even when I'm not wrong, for us to be able to settle the issue, and then we can return to it and look at where we made mistakes. Level 3, who are the people apart from family I can bring into an issue where we are not having peace of mind? And I say all the time, it's a mistake to use your family members as the first line of solving marital problems. So you as the leader of the household must decide, when we disagree, when we cannot see out eye to eye, how are we solving the problems in this marriage? Brings me to number 4. You must study your wife like you're going to write exams. I know some men who even go to the point of even recording their wife's cycle on their calendar so they know when it's just PMS that is making her shouting at the children, and they also take cover. But understand your wife. What was the trauma she came into this marriage with? How was she raised? How does she see things? What makes her feel safe? What makes her feel intimidated? And how can you work around that to bring leadership? If you're a person of faith, you know about the scripture that says, wives, love your husbands. And then it says, husbands, love your wives, but dwell with them according to wisdom. Why must you dwell with your wife according to wisdom? Naturally, for most men, there's one major hormone that will be pumping through your veins every day of the week and every day of the month for most of your life, nearly at the same level. For a woman, every 3 to 4 days, and don't quote me on that, the hormones are surging, something different is happening in her system. If you don't understand the woman you are with, how she copes with stress, what happens to my wife when she's stressed out? How does she talk to me when she's stressed out? What happens to my wife when she's broke? How does she behave? What happens to my wife when she's feeling low self-esteem or not feeling beautiful enough? And you learn to deal with that. That's why I say the man brings leadership. Number 5, be intentional about how you raise the children. Let me say something, and I say this all the time. I'm creating content for men. So if you're a woman and you disagree with point number 5, please just keep moving. Don't even pause to comment. How children are raised is the man's responsibility, not the wife's responsibility. Don't outsource the raising of your children to your wife. Now, when someone is talking to the woman, they can have something, but as a man, you must decide, these are my children, they bear my name. How do I want them to turn out? And there must be some hills you are willing to die on with your wife, because you know that this is the right way to raise the children that bear my name. So you must decide, what are their skill sets? What's their temperament? What can they do? What can they not do? This particular child, what kind of friends are they getting involved with? How do I curb this? How do I promote this? You as the man must sit down and decide that you are going to be intentional about how you raise your children. And a man can never say, and should never say that, because of the way their mother is behaving, I've left them to their mother. A man and a father does not leave his children to the mother because he's angry. Let me say that again. It's your responsibility to raise those kids. Number 6, you must decide to build wealth that outlives you, not the appearance that impresses people. That means that as a man, it is about building wealth. It is about understanding debt. It's not about looking rich immediately. It's not about looking successful. Some of us did not come from money. And if you did not come from money, you must ensure that you can lay foundations that will ensure that the children that come from you will come from money. That may mean you may delay building a house. You may delay buying a car. You may delay doing certain things that other people are doing because you have a certain vision for how this family is going to turn out. And there will be pushback, especially from the people with the other gender, who often make expenses based on emotions and not foresight and planning. Often, I didn't say always, and some of them. There are some of them who are correct. There are some of them who are not correct. So build wealth that outlives you. And the 7th one, you may want to tune out now. The 7th one is not for everybody, but For those who are people of faith, number 7 is that you must be responsible for the spiritual direction of the household. You as a father cannot be sitting down and spirits are jumping in your household, fighting your children, things are going haywire, and you are just lying down. At the beginning of the month, as a responsible man, you must spend a day or two and pray, fast and pray for the entire family. Lord, it's a new month. Where are you taking us? What is going to happen? At the beginning and at the end of the year, you must bring your children before God. Teach them the principles by which we live. But you yourself must first live by those principles. So practically, these are some of the things that I believe a man can do to bring leadership to his household. Tell me what you think. Which ones do you agree with? Which ones don't you agree with? And hey, let's enjoy ourselves. Be kind in the comments. And the women, remember, this content was created for men. So if you want to comment, please be kind. Take care. Uncle Josh is out.